when I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. Mm-hmm. But what we are very proud of now, the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets.
And so I do have to go back to some of your own predictions, and that includes for Bitcoin. You've told me very recently that you still think, within the last couple months, that you think that Bitcoin in the next 5 years or so can get to 500,000.
I do. Listen, this is a story about two things. It's about adoption and it's about global economics. And while this is a bump in the road in adoption, it's certainly not a U-turn.
Welcome to the Cryptoteacher. And guys, I come back with that video just to make you think. And we know we hear the drums are beating, but listening to Klaus, we know it's all planned out. But we have Mike Novogratz saying that Bitcoin can hit 500,000 over the next 5 years. Now we know Bitcoin and crypto is for the fourth industrial revolution. For the robots, algorithms, and drones that take over the economy, while the sheep go inside the metaverse. We have Novogratz making excuses on why the market crumbled. It's all due to the Fed. The Fed controls supply and demand. We saw them print 20% of all money in existence. They had to put all this free money somewhere. By tapping BlackRock, they were buying up everything, stocks and cryptos. And now they're using Aladdin to sell everything, causing a ripple effect in the markets, but they haven't even got started yet. We know they're going to create a great distraction first. They have Gary Gensler and Janet Yellen in the perfect positions. Remember, they're the NWO chess pieces. Fourth quarter is going to be the start of that main event that's going to run into next year and probably lasts over the next 2 to 3 years while they build the fourth industrial revolution. And remember, the crypto teacher told you because he knows when it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Kind of part of this crisis, and it started a daisy chain of events. And if there's a lesson learned, was that the industry, plenty of retail investors, really had very, very little concept of risk management. And listen, what was interesting about Luna was it was very transparent, right? It was all public. It was all on the blockchain. People knew if they paid attention the bet they were making. The bet turned out not to work, and it unraveled very quickly. What I don't think people expected was the magnitude of losses that would show up in, professional institutions' balance sheets. And that caused a daisy chain of effects. Companies like Celsius and Three Arrows and Genesis and Blockchain.com and you name it, this is all public information now, had exposure. And then the Three Arrows situation, which we'll see, if it was legitimate or if there was fraud involved, really started that flywheel of credit losses. And it turned into a full-fledged credit crisis, right, with complete liquidation and huge damage to confidence in the space, into the infrastructure of the space. 3, 4, 5, 6 big institutions either declaring Chapter 11 or de facto doing the same thing by putting up gates and stopping retail deposits from leaving. I used to say, not to be an I told you so, but I would stay with talking to industry groups. I was like, we need to self-regulate or the regulators are coming. And when you look back, there was very little self-regulation. There was inane risk management where companies took massive leverage, took asset liability mismatch, which means they had short-term deposits and they lent them out long. I mean, those are the two ways people always go bankrupt. This is a tale as old as time. And it happened in lots of ways. That's greed, that's ignorance. It's frustrating as heck because, at times the whole industry looks like a bunch of idiots. What's really interesting is the DeFi stuff, the on-chain stuff, worked like it was supposed to work. It was transparent, right? People got stopped out when they were supposed to be getting stopped out. There's no, oh, he lied to me. I can't believe that. I didn't know the rules, right? It was all on chain. And so in lots of ways, as ironic as this sounds, this crisis is somewhat an advertisement for more transparency and more DeFi. Yeah, that's absolutely no good. I think probably, the regulator, you could ask Jay, they have a tough job. The SEC under Gensler was in the offices of both BlockFi and Celsius, right? They had already made a settlement with BlockFi. But they were allowing these institutions to take a huge amount of leverage, take retail deposits in, gamble them like they were hedge funds. And so, I don't know what the SEC should have done or could have done or might have done, but they didn't do a lot to protect the retail investor in those two organizations when they were in their offices, right? And so it's a very hard thing to figure out what the right scheme should be.
We're going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
This effort. And China has big plans for this. They intend to seed their digital yuan into the global environment by giving it away to visitors at next winter's Olympics. When they arrive at the airport, they're going to get yuan digital wallets. They're going to receive digital yuan. They're going to use it throughout their visits to Beijing, and then they're going to take it back to their home countries. They see this as a huge advantage. Why? Because who controls the underlying protocols, who controls the underlying standards of the future of money will control the future of money.
Powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Tam save New York from COVID stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Drama Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.